在澳洲租房一个月多少钱
Hey, do you rent?
租房我买了吧。
No, I don't, because I'm a goddamn yacht bitch. In today's episode of the Property Roast Part 2, we're looking at how some Chinese locals that are living in Sydney and Australia are balling it out, whilst a lot of first home buyers out there that I'm trying to help are struggling to get their first home. Now, obviously, no hate on the individual or the creator that's shooting this individual. This is purely just to call out the broken housing system that's allowing foreign buyers who then get PR, who get permanent resident or Australian citizenship, a system that only supports mullah, money, capital injection for overseas, anything that is far remote from giving a crap about first home buyers who want to get their first home in Australia. Let's kick in the property roast. All right, so over here.
Hey, look at swoop.
Damn, she's first shot. She's in her yacht. Okay, I got it.
租房我买了吧，住在一个。
So his usual generic question is, hey, do you rent? And obviously that question is pre-scripted. Obviously the answer is, no, I don't, because I'm a goddamn yacht bitch, and I'm gonna take you to my house. Anyway.
海景公寓。
海景大平层
So 海景公寓 means she has a apartment, right, that's facing the ocean. And obviously the yacht will get her there, right?
是吗？
半层吧，180平线海景。
Whoa, okay, so 180 square meter apartment, right? I don't think this is a penthouse.
1躺平。
大概多少钱呢？
300万。
我们一定要去看
He's like, how much does it cost? 3 million.
看一下。
我们开传带你去。
来来，
And he's like, oh, well, can we have a look, man? And he's like, hey, can we have a look? He's like, yeah, of course. Get into my yacht.
来 cheers。这种生活不就是澳洲人的躺平？
Clink of the champagne, loving the broken system. The housing government is allowing us to buy up all these properties.
非常典型的黄金海岸的生活。我平时开船、开 jet ski 啊，买菜。
Wow. He's like, oh, well, tell us about your daily routine. She's like, yeah, it's pretty ordinary. I just like wake up in the morning, get in my yacht or my private boat, and sometimes I do a bit of jet skiing, or the sports here and there.
串门啊，大家可以进来看一下，它有2个客。
Before we go to my luxurious apartment, my penthouse luxurious apartment, check out my
客
yacht.
厅的区域，再往下面去呢，就是卫生间，有主卧。
所以可以睡的。
对对。
Now, for me, I feel like I have a lot of investment properties. I have my own home that I live in at the moment. I've been a mortgage broker for the last 15 years, so I've built up my portfolio because I have insider knowledge. I know what to do. But I really sympathize with those of you guys out there who are watching this, first home buyers or first time investors that want to just buy their first home or just buy an asset to build up a property portfolio to end the generational poverty curse in your family, and you're like watching this. You kind of can't help feeling kind of salty, thinking, hey, she looks pretty young. She looks like she's in her late 30s or early 40s. She's Asian. Obviously, I'm Asian. I look like I'm in my early 20s, but I'm actually in my early 40s. But I'm just saying, like, the wealth that this person has is like the movie, the rich crazy Asians kind of. Not only she has her apartment, but she has enough money to have a yacht and then live the lifestyle as well. Like, your question, what does she even do? Can you help not feeling salty about this? Especially when you're trying to go through the system to buy your first home and you're seeing how easy another person's life is.
这么大，还可以洗澡。
接下来我们就跟着 Celia 去一下。
Wow, look at the view over here.
所有的房子就充满2个字：奢侈。好多人家里面都停了船。
有些
These are all the rich 1%ers in Australia at the moment.
还可以停飞机呢。
这边环绕的都是国际5星级酒店，你家不会就在那个最尽头吧？
对。
所以住在海边会不会很浪啊？
我很浪。
So she says she lives just right over there in one of those apartments.
欢迎 Lucas 来我家。
So this is the joint.
5楼以上就是1层1户3房2卫。
进门
Okay, so it's like on the 5th story, 3 bedrooms.
一进来就感觉你的海景扑面而来，人家还要来花钱度假，你就
So basically when the door opens, you can basically see the view.
直接就住。
So obviously she bought this place because, when she opens the door and she walks into her room, she gets this feeling of serenity because she can see the beach and the ocean.
可以直接开到美国了，每时每刻海的颜色都是不一样的。我更喜欢那种暴风雨天。
I'm getting a
这是
feeling
住海边的烦恼。
I'm getting a feeling here this is not Sydney. This is like Queensland, Brisbane. Because the video is very vague.
这款茶几选的特别好，特别适合这种海岸风。
所有的厨具品牌都。
Did you see that custom design coffee table? How much did it cost? 10 grand.
瓷器控。
So this is her kitchen.
还是蛮多东西的嘛，
其实我很少下厨，
基本上都是这种澳洲的
It's like, okay.
这样。
因为我老公是澳洲人。
1月25号呀，
家大部分食物。
Oh, she did mention her husband is Australian, so I'm guessing he is white. So look, the video isn't about, hey, bashing foreigners who are buying this. She is not a foreigner. She's local that married Australian, and this is a house. Obviously living the luxe life. She's living the rich life.
食冠面膜纯靠这种天然的。
这边就是你的专区吗？
对啊。
This is her bathroom.
每天看着海景护肤，哎，多少女生羡慕的地方，这好。
He's like, oh my god, I guess you must feel amazing that every morning you wake up and you're putting on your cleansing, your makeup, you're seeing the ocean view. And she's like, yeah.
我多爱都行为在这些嘉宾那看过。
这个是我专门托人从国内带过来的。
想来黄金海岸家的，
比较偶然吧。Moss。
Okay, so basically she's in the Gold Coast, and he's asking her, hey, when did you thought about come from China to the Gold Coast? And she's like,
这个时期呢，我在这边旅游，
she's like, during the COVID times, I came to Australia. Obviously, there wasn't lockdowns back then. People were free to travel. She came for a holiday.
遇了当时男朋友，
多久闪婚
2个月。
当时没有想说来澳洲定居的。
And she met this guy, obviously someone local. And after 2 months, they got married.
巴黎的家里面的垃圾桶都没到呢，他就把我留这儿了，一留就留了4、5年，读了一个法学。
And then she stayed for like 4 to 5 years. She's like, what did you do before this? She's like, I used to travel the world, over 50 countries. I studied in Paris, France. She's obviously a rich lady.
签还是婚姻吧，我原生家庭就普通的不能再普通了，18线农村出生的，不过我的。
So I don't know why they always do this. They always like, I come from a very poor background. I come from a very poor province in China. I'm very average, very plain. This is just behind the scenes of how a rich local Chinese lives. So, it's vastly different to the average locals that live in Australia, that were born and raised here. The message is very clear. If you have a lot of capital overseas, or you marry rich, then obviously you live a rich lifestyle.
看到作为一个普通女孩的10年，一个普通女孩怎么能才像你这样逆袭？
眼界拓宽吧，多出去。
So he's saying, hey, look, how does someone that was like you before, who was very average, came from a poor province to accrue so much assets and wealth right now? And she's saying,
走的话可以遇到更多的机会，同时也要雕磨自己，因为机会是留给有准备的人。
Just like, hey, it's very simple. You just gotta be a person that says yes to every opportunity, never say no to opportunities.
不能想着一步登天，要耐心，然后学习的。
Be patient, study hard. I applaud her success. The fact that she came from China, she's poor, apparently, and then obviously during that process, she traveled to 50 different countries, studied in Paris, and married an Australian local. Obviously now she's probably got her citizenship or permanent resident, and she's living in a $3 million property, facing the ocean, has a yacht. We don't know about her other investment properties. Kudos to her.
只看到成功花朵的娇艳，但是看不到本。
要挑。
So basically, he's like, hey, thank you for telling me your tips. And then he adds on, anyone can be like you. And obviously, this is posted on the platform Douyin, which is a Chinese platform. And it kind of feels like an infomercial, for foreign buyers who are thinking, oh my God, I can just come to Australia and do what she does. And, it just fuels the demand for Australian property. Is this necessary? Is this unnecessary? I mean, this is fantastic content. What this guy's doing is great. She's living a great life. We're getting a peek of what her life is. But for those who are watching it in China or overseas, do they think, hey man, I think Australia is my next property monopoly playground. Maybe I should get my tickets, fly to Australia and buy it up. And how does that affect the locals who are struggling with the housing crisis at the moment? This is what I'm trying to call out. No hate on her or the content being produced by this creator over here, but I'm saying the system is broken, right? And obviously it's not just the government, and obviously I'm not just blaming the government, because there are external factors. Like this content was posted on Douyin, which is a Chinese platform. Those who watch it, no fault to them, but in terms of the propaganda presented to them, they think, wow, I could be like her, I can live the life like this, and all I need to do is come over to Australia and buy property. And added to that, adding fuel to fire, we have a system, a housing system that supports that. And that's how we get the housing property crisis that we're experiencing at the moment. And it's bloody hot.
挑战不可能。
不要给自己设限，永远都向前看，垫脚稍微。
And then she's saying, hey, you just need simple principles. You need to set your goals right, reach them, work hard. But seriously, there's a lot of first home buyers I'm helping that have all these things done, but they lack capital. They lack daddy's money. They lack, I don't know where the hell do you get this money to buy such an exclusive property facing the ocean for your first home, your prime place of residence, and a yacht to take you to that property. Like, man.
真的不要设限，去努力奋斗这样的生活。黄金涵的家打卡成功。
Woo! So guys, what do you think about this episode of the property roast? Like, obviously, I'm trying to balance the fact that I'm not being salty. I'm not trying to hate on these individuals who are living a great life at the moment as a local in Australia. But I'm trying to address the system where they're not supporting the first home buyers who are trying to get into a property. So hopefully you stay tuned for other roast episodes just to highlight the fact there are people who are living great lives and it's not all about the basic principles she laid out. That is just BS propaganda. Because at the end of the day, you might study hard, you might work hard, you might save hard. It doesn't mean you can get into a $3 million property. But it doesn't mean you can't take advantage of the first home guarantee scheme, 5% deposit, which is if you're buying a $600,000 property, you only need 30 grand, you don't need to pay stamp duty, and you have your mortgage insurance waived. So guys, if you want more information, jump in the comments, ask me anything, or book a call with me and I'm happy to speak to you. Obviously, if you don't have the capital like her, don't call me to say, hey, can I buy a $3 million property just like that lady? No, don't fall for that BS propaganda. Until next time, I see you in the next roast.